Hey guys, I'm Scott Allen Miller. Here on Sam IT, sometimes I do things that are a little bit different. What I was doing last night was reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix to my kids. It's actually not one of my favorite Harry Potter books. My favorite is probably the last one, but I don't know. Prisoner of Azkaban is pretty good. But Order of the Phoenix has something that caught my eye, and I wanted to talk about it today. And that is, and spoiler alert, if you plan on reading Harry Potter and you've not read the Order of the Phoenix, pause, go read it, great book, come back and let's talk about Hermione and her ideas. Ready? Did you read it? Oh. Okay. So, in Book 5, Order of the Phoenix, the defense against the dark arts teacher is Dolores Umbridge, and she's awful. In fact, in all of the books leading up to Order of the Phoenix, hold on, you read those too, right? Yeah, okay. So, in all of the books, their defense against the dark arts teachers are, at worst, useless, and at best, not around for very long. So the students really struggle with getting any special teaching. Now, I do like in The Prisoner of Azkaban, Book 3, that Professor Lupin does take personal time with Harry to train him on defense against the dark arts outside of class, which shows that students and professors who work together and take initiative can get really big benefit from the educational system. And that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Students who are driven should have resources to make things work. Book 3 is a great example of how education should be. Book 5 is the polar opposite. How bad can education become? By Book 5, not only is the teacher completely worthless, but she actively forbids the things that the students need to do to learn. Now, in this case, they're learning magic instead of IT, which is what we're talking about here on the Sam IT channel, but let's face it, to most people, IT is magic, and we can apply the rules evenly. So, great. Let's look at how magic was learned. What did Hermione propose? She found a student who was self-driven and had a lot of experience, that would be Harry, found a group of students who were really interested in learning and were willing to put in effort to learn on their own regardless of how much their school tried to stop them from learning. That would be Ron and Dean Thomas and Ginny and everyone else. And they come together and put together their own classrooms where they go get their own reference material, they come up with their own lessons, they do their own practices, and they teach each other. This is, surprisingly, exactly what the world of IT is like and should be like. In the real world that we deal with, the majority of our schools, both high school and university, lean more towards Dolores Umbridge in Book 5 than Professor Lupin in Book 3. At best, they kind of fall somewhere in the middle, maybe like Hagrid and getting lost and doing interesting and dangerous things, but not really teaching what people need. Or maybe more like more like Book 2, where they get caught up in themselves and forget to focus on teaching the students. Regardless, education in IT tends to be bad. And we often find that the university process will go through so much effort to keep us from learning. Not because they specifically don't want us to learn, but because it's not in their interest for us to learn. Students who are learning take more effort, and there aren't that many Professor Lupins around who are going to take that extra step to make sure that whatever we want to learn, we can. There's a lot more Umbridges out there who are going to do whatever they can to shut down the learning process to make things easy on themselves. Technically, if you read the book, that's not really why she did it, but the result's the same. What do we do as IT professionals? What should we do? We need to be Hermione. We need to be Ron. We need to be Harry. We need to be Ginny. We need to find the resources that are out there, right? Whether it's books in the library or grab a professor who does know what they need, or someone who's experienced in the industry is really a better example, and find other peers who maybe have a little bit more experience, are a little bit better, maybe more driven. Put together our own peer groups where we teach each other. Take initiative. This is the lesson for me as an IT professional from the Order of the Phoenix. I know you probably didn't come into this thinking that Harry Potter was going to be a lesson in educational practices for the industry, but it is. When you want to make magic happen, you have to be the one who makes it happen. No one's going to do it for you. Your professors might try, they might try to hinder you, most of them will probably just not care. But you need to care. Only you know how important it is to you, and only you are going to take that initiative and make it happen. Hermione did that to great effect, and you can too. IT, like magic, is a field where it's completely open. The books are there for you to read, the resources are available on the internet, your peers are out there to talk to you, there are communities online where you can find people who will help guide you, answer questions, even help you organize local groups so you can get together in person. The resources exist and it is up to you to leverage them, but you can. That's the great thing. Just like Hermione was able to get a secret room in which for them to practice, go to the library and get books and find someone who is willing to work as a peer reviewer, you have access to those resources. Reach out, make it happen. Don't allow the university system or the high school system or some formal educational process to get between you and your education, because they will almost all of the time. You are the sole person who can push past that barrier and decide that you're going to learn and educate yourself, even if no one else is going to educate you. It's you, right? It has to come from inside. You need to be driven, but you can be. So, go out there. Don't let the universities get in your way. Don't think that formal education is what's needed to learn. It's not. It might be what's required for accreditation. It may be what's required for a piece of paper, but it is not the only way to gain the skills and knowledge that you need. What that needs simply is your self-motivation to educate yourself. Use Hermione's example. And if you haven't read them, get out there and read the Harry Potter books. They are very good, and they go beyond just learning about education. Thanks for joining me. Remember to like and subscribe. Put your comments below. Do you have other books that teach you important things about IT that you never thought you would connect? And remember, you can always sponsor us on Patreon.